Oh there, friends. Hey, Diddly, how you doing? I'm gonna be reading you more stories. Nobody asked for this, but I think it's fun, so I'm gonna do more of it. I believe we're moving on to the Crystal Skull. So, let's see what it's about. You are a king who is loved by his people. You have a serious problem, though. Your only child, Juliana, has an incurable disease and she is dying. You hear about a crystal skull which can cure illnesses and let people have visions. It's brought to your palace from the continent of America, but your man warns you that the skull might be cursed. Will the crystal skull bring health to the princess or doom? Here we go. The Crystal Skull. Being a king is hard. Being a good king is even harder. You know this well as the sole ruler of a European kingdom in the age when America is discovered. It has been 25 years since you ascended the throne. Your subjects are content with your rule, your country in peace, and the people are wealthy. There is something wrong with your life. Your daughter Juliana is ill. She's only 18 years old, and she's got an illness that nobody could cure yet. Princess is dying, and she is your only child and heir to the throne. Every doctor you could find tried to cure her. You have tried almost everything. Almost. You have been informed about a miraculous artifact unearthed on the continent of America. It's a human skull made of crystal. It amazes the scholars because no method is known to carve up such an excellent shape of a skull. Crystal. This skull doesn't belong to the world that you know, but to an ancient civilization that has been lost. But what amazes the scholars is not just the impossible creation. The skull is told to bring miracles to whom touches it with their bare hands. Some people tell that they saw visions from the future. Some tell that they saw how the human race has originated. And some tell that the skull can cure their illnesses. Those couldn't be cured with the medication available to your era. Naturally, you ordered your best men to bring the miraculous skull to the palace. It's midnight now. You are in Juliana's chamber. She's lying in her bed, holding your hand as you sit near her. No candles are lit inside. Full moon enlightens the princess's chamber, shining on her long blonde hair and blue eyes. She's too weak. Her skin is pale. She has under-eye bags showing her illness. You already suffered the loss of your wife 10 years ago. Now you can't stand seeing your only daughter slowly die. Juliana asks you with a soft voice, "Father, am I going to die?" "I won't allow that." She smiles. "I know, Father. You are a mighty king. I know that you will do the best by your subjects and me." The door of the chamber is knocked on. The servants generally don't disturb their royal family members at night, so it must be something important. A brunette boy, one of your servants, gets inside the chamber with politeness. He looks at you and says, "Your Majesty, the artifact has been brought. You had been waiting for this moment for a long time. I will come back." After you kiss Juliana's forehead and say, "I will come back," she brings your hand to her pale lips to kiss it. Then you leave Juliana alone in her chamber. At the exit of Juliana's chamber, you see Sir William, one of the knights, those who were appointed with the task of finding and bringing back the ancient skull. He is a strong man with black hair and a round beard. He wears gloves and holds a bag. "Your Majesty," he says, and kneels before you. "Let's go to my study chamber." Sir William follows you as you walk to your study chamber. The chamber is well lit with silver candelabras. All the furniture is classy. It is a king's study room after all. There is only one chair, and it is for you. You sit on it. Sir William stands by you and slowly pulls the artifact from his bag. You push the books on the study desk to open space for the artifact. Here it is, he says, and gently puts the crystal skull on the study desk. The skull is truly a masterpiece. If it is crafted by humans, all the details of a human skull are imprinted with care on raw crystal. Lights coming from the candles are refracted inside the crystal, gaining various colors of a rainbow. It's magnificent, but you sense something sinister. Something that doesn't belong to our world. Touch the skull. As you are about to touch the skull, Sir William holds your hand and prevents you from touching the skull. Your Majesty, I think I need to tell you something about the skull before you touch it. The day we were about to leave, a native man came to us. He looked like the chief of his tribe. He knew little of our language, but he shouted some words that we could understand. Cursed! Don't touch! So we haven't touched the skull with our bare hands again. I know that our princess needs to find a cure. What the hell was that? I also know that we received reliable information about the magical powers of the skull when it comes to incurable diseases. But Your Majesty, I have got a very bad feeling about this skull. I believe that the wise decision is to throw this skull to the sea. I can't let Juliana die. She will touch the skull. The knight sighs, as you wish, Your Majesty. But if you are going to bring the skull to her, I wish you would wear gloves. I will, at the very least, wear gloves. You look for gloves around the study chamber, Sir William. His own gloves off. I think you wish Juliana to touch the skull as soon as possible. Let's not wait for servants to find your gloves, he says, and gives you them. You wear the gloves and hold the crystal skull with your covered hands. Let's bring the skull to Juliana. You thank Sir William for his services and let him go. Carry the skull to Juliana's chamber. You enter her chamber and see that she hasn't slept yet. She rises up and sits on her bed. She looks at the skull in awe. It looks marvelous and scary, she says. You approach Juliana and let her touch the skull. As Juliana touches the skull, she closes her eyes and doesn't react to anything in the external world. You understand that she is having a vision. 10 seconds, she opens her eyes with a gasp. I saw things. I don't know how to describe them. They were pitch black creatures, so ugly. Their eyes, they were red as flames, and they all stared at me. She starts to cry. Please keep this thing away from me, please, and I want to be alone. So you decide to keep the skull in your study room, let your daughter sleep. After this tiring day, you go to your chamber. There are no guards at the door, so you trust everybody in the palace. You are a loved king. The furniture are luxurious in this chamber, too. Take a glance at your reflection in the mirror. I shall examine myself. You take pride in how you look. You are a middle-aged man, but you still look as handsome as you were when you were 20. Your looks are an important factor that make you a charismatic leader, aside from being fair and wise. You wear your nightgown and get in your bed. It is a bed for 2 people, but you haven't slept with anyone since your wife passed away. You have a secret that you keep from everyone. Sometimes you hug the second pillow in your bed, as if it was someone you love. You've done this since your childhood. Nobody needs to know it. It doesn't take long for you to fall asleep. Father. Wake up to Juliana's voice. She gently holds your shoulder. You look at her. She has a happy smile on her face. Her skin is not pale, but saturated with life. She no longer has bags under her eyes. I feel wonderful. She takes a few steps back and starts dancing. You laugh with happiness, stand up, and hug her. Juliana walks in the corridors of the palace, dancing and laughing. You and the people of the palace are very happy to see her this way. She used to be like a ghost before. You plan a feast and invite all the lords of the kingdom. A few days later, every lord arrives to the capital city to celebrate the health of the princess. At the feast, Juliana is the center of everybody's attention. She talks with everyone joyfully, makes jokes, makes people laugh. When the feast is over and it's midnight, everybody goes to their chambers reserved for them. You accompany Juliana to her chamber, put a kiss on her forehead before letting her sleep. Then you go to your own chamber and fall asleep in peace. You wake up to the sound of the knocking on your chamber door. It's still night. You wonder who dare wake you up at this hour. As you open the door, you see the same brunette boy who had informed you about the arrival of the skull. Your Majesty, I am deeply sorry for disturbing you at this hour. There is something deeply wrong. There are laughing sounds coming from the princess's chamber. It's her voice, but it doesn't sound normal. I'm sure it's nothing. Can't sleep. You feel something is so wrong. The door of your chamber opens. There's only one person who is allowed to enter without knocking on the king's door. So you understand that it is Juliana who has entered. Like you guessed, you see your daughter's silhouette. She closes the door and approaches you with a smile on her face. Juliana? She leans down to you, gently pulls the other pillow that you don't use. Juliana is dead, she says, pushing the pillow on your face. You struggle, but whoever or whatever is trying to kill you is too strong. The king is dead. Long live the king, she shouts. Why is your own daughter committing patricide and referring to herself as the king rather than queen? That doesn't make sense at all. That is the end of your reign and life. This one has 3 endings. Okay. So let's do that again. Am I going to die? Yeah. Eventually, it is so sad. I am a princess with ambitions. Ambitious to become a ruler. It is certainly not about personal gain. I want to continue what you do. I want to be a fair ruler and make our people happy. But I think this is life. Death conquers all. Door of the chamber is knocked on. It's the brunette boy. Go to the artifact. So William, touch the skull. I trust your insight. Let's do it. I'm glad that you agree with me, Your Majesty. So he packs the crystal skull into the bag. To get outside the palace and get on your horses to ride to the docks. When you reach the docks, Sir William finds stones and fills the bag with it. When he throws the bag, your only hope for curing Juliana to the bottom of the dark sea, he's gone. I know how hard it must be. Maybe this is the best for all of us. But he is right. The end. Okay. And there's one more. I think where I touched the skull. Yeah. Alright, the night sighs, as you wish, Your Majesty. But if you are going to bring the skull to her, I wish you would wear gloves. Touch it with your bare hands. You ignore the night, touch the skull with your bare hands, and instantly find yourself in a vision. In your vision, you are in the middle of a ritual. There are about 100 naked humans around you, forming a circle whose center is you. They are all prostrating themselves, worshipping you. It's nighttime. The plain area is enlightened with torches and stars. You see a stepped pyramid nearby. It is made of huge stone blocks. You realize that you are the crystal skull. You can't see yourself, but you are completely aware of what you are. These people worshipping you, the crystal skull. Then the vision changes. Now it is night. It is not morning, it is night. It is raining like hell. There is a huge flood. Unclothed, red-skinned humans scream and get drowned because of the disastrous torrent. And you, as the skull, drift away. You open your eyes and turn back to who you really are. The good king. Sir William looks at you. Tell him what you've seen in your vision. Yes, the skull is mysterious. I cannot understand it. I hope it doesn't bring harm to your princess, your majesty. You thank Sir William. Sleep. Oh! Wait a minute. Hang on. Something happened. I missed something. I don't know if you saw that. Hang on. I figured it would just be let her in at night or don't let her in at night. Tell the vision. Bring it to Juliana. She holds the skull, rubs her hands around it. Nothing happened. Is something supposed to happen? She asks, and then gives the skull back. Then she continues, let's wait for tomorrow morning. Maybe it shows its effect then. So you decide to leave Juliana alone and let her sleep. The skull will be staying in your study chamber. After this tiring day, you go to your chamber. There are no guards at the door because you just trust everybody in the palace. We're a loved king. Furniture and luxurious chamber. Luxuries in this chamber too. You take a glance at your reflection in the mirror. You're very handsome. Go to sleep. You wake up in the morning. Something is wrong. Can't move your arms. No, not only arms. Can't move any part of your body. You are paralyzed. Then suddenly your body starts to move voluntarily. It stands up without your consent. Your feet bring you to the mirror. You see your face in the mirror. You are terrified. There is a grin on your face. You are no longer in control of your body. You are merely a bystander of what it does. It brings you to the throne room with confident steps. Soldiers salute you. To be exact, they salute it. As you enter, it sits on the throne and shouts with your voice, "Bring me my daughter." You watch guards accompany Juliana as she comes into your presence. It shouts, "I don't want her to suffer anymore. Kill her." Juliana is shocked. "What? Father, please." She's not the only surprised one in the room. Everybody looks at each other with shock and shouts, "You heard your king! Execute her!" You try to shout, but your screams are buried inside the head of the king. Juliana gets on her knees and cries in despair. But it's in vain. Two black masked decapitators come into your presence. One holds the crying blonde girl, the other holds a sword. And do nothing but watch as your precious daughter gets decapitated. Her head falls down and rolls to the throne. The floor gets filled with her blood. Days pass. It continues to control your body. You mourn for your daughter inside the body that once belonged to you. You watch it rule your country with an iron fist. It orders all the churches be burnt and priests be sent to hang. Of course, your people uprise against the new king. It suppresses the revolt with violence. Anyone who stood against the king gets tortured. Eyes are poked. Skins are flayed. Soon it orders people to worship it as a deity. The God King declares war against other countries. It doesn't take long for the other countries to form an alliance against the God King. In a fateful battle for your capital, the God King loses his horse. The evil king gets killed while desperately searching for a horse. And this is how your soul finally breaks free to heaven to see your family once again. The end. Wow. Okay, that one was pretty long. Hang on. Time am I at? Oh. Okay. I'm all out of time for this one. If you liked it, I liked it. It was pretty cool. Crystal Skull becoming like its own thing, I guess. I don't know. It was cool. If you liked it, leave a comment, leave a like, do a subscribe. You should subscribe. In fact, it's fact that I am the best YouTuber on the platform. I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.